Alright, if you look at my tomato plants, that's a lemon garlic OG and that's a lemon garlic OG. That's a tomato and a couple of pepper plants just fighting to sprout out. They take a while to go. As long as I got some tomatoes, I'm happy. I want to talk a little bit about some of these organic ingredients that I use. I'm using bone meal. It's mixing with the tomato tone, but we're going to talk about it here. This is a great source of nitrogen and phosphorus. If you look at these numbers here, this is what these numbers mean. The 4, nitrogen, 10 is phosphorus, and the last 0 there is potassium. If you notice, they all come with those little 3 numbers. That's what those 3 numbers mean. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So to put it in perspective here, or just to make it a little easier, nitrogen's good for vegetative growth. Phosphorus is good for root development. Potassium is good for growing your flowers. So basically, if you're looking to make an all-natural mix, something that's all-purpose, like a 5-5-5, would work just fine, and it'd be a mix of all sorts of different stuff like this. So just like this tomato tone here, there's a 3-4-6. There's like 6 or 8 different things in there, which we'll go into in a minute. But let's talk about bone meal first. Bone meal is a great source of calcium as well as nitrogen and phosphorus. And you want to use the unsteamed granular bone meal. You want to use the stuff that takes a while to break down, so it provides the plant with calcium and phosphorus throughout its whole cycle. So bone meal is good. A little bit goes a long way too, so you don't need much of it. You can sprinkle it on top of your soil, or you can mix it in with the soil like I have and let it cook for a while. So we got some blood meal here, which is a great source of nitrogen. It's good for vegetative growth. The thing with blood meal is you don't need a lot, because what it can do is it can cause the soil to heat up. So you wanna be careful when you use it. You don't need a lot of it. I use like a 1/4 cup and just over a cubic foot of soil, so you don't need a whole lot. The other good thing about it is that it also provides plenty of trace minerals and iron as well, which plants do need. So yeah, a little bit of that goes a long way as well. Kelp meal, which is a 102. So there's a little bit of nitrogen, a little bit of potassium. It's also full of exotic growth hormones and enzymes. And yeah, so it's good like that. See, a lot of this stuff, I don't know what the exotic growth hormones and all this stuff is. Basically, I'm just translating what I've been reading. I don't know what it is exactly that makes them so important, but the more diverse you can make your soil, apparently the better it is, because the plants will take what they need. Instead of force feeding them with the liquid nutrients, you're giving them a chance to take what they need from this stuff. This tomato tone's really good stuff. It's got a bunch of different stuff in it. Once I get the zone, so it's got some feather meal in there, which is really good. It's a source of nitrogen and calcium, and apparently the nitrogen lasts longer than it does in the blood meal. So feather meal is a good thing to add. It's got poultry manure. Now manure is the traditional way to fertilize your cannabis. That's how they do it in the third world countries. Manure is the stuff you want to use, and chicken manure or poultry manure is supposed to be the really good stuff. And it has a little bit of everything. It has nitrogen, it has potassium and phosphorus, and it's just really good. You can sprinkle, if you can get your hands on chicken manure or something like that, you can sprinkle a little bit of that on top and let it leach into your soil. Do a lot of good when you're growing organic. Bone meal we talked about. Alfalfa meal is another one that has a lot of nitrogen, potassium, and a lot of them exotic growth hormones. It's kind of similar to the kelp meal. Let's see, green sand, which is kind of like a soil conditioner from what I've read. Yeah, and it provides the plant with a lot of potassium, and which is good for the flower development, obviously. And we got humates or whatever. I don't really know what that is. Sulfate and potash and gypsum. Gypsum's another good thing. It's almost like a soil conditioner as well. Kind of works the same as rock phosphate. Rock phosphate is basically provides phosphorus and sulfur, which is a primary and a secondary macronutrient. Works a lot the same way as rock phosphate. So that's a little bit about, you know, meals and stuff like that. There's two ways you can use them. You could friggin' sprinkle them on top of your soil, or you can mix them in and let them cook. I've decided to let mine mix in and let them cook. That way they break down and the plant can draw what they need from them. So there's the basics, guys. I mean, there's also other stuff that you can use as well. Like apparently rice is really good. I guess the microbacteria really love it, like actual basmati rice. Simple as that. Mix some of that in. Earthworm castings. If you're going to mix your soil, I've used earthworm castings. The reason why it is because not only is it a great source of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, but it's also ready to use right away. It doesn't need to be cooked. So I was able to put my seedlings in there right away, and they already look like they're thriving. I just transplanted these yesterday. Well, these two aren't in the soil. These are in the regular old sunshine mix, but everything else seems to be doing really well. So, yeah, there you have it, guys. The basics of the basic nutrients and, you know, a little bit about organic soil mixing and nutrients. So, until next time, guys. We're going to dive in a little bit more too. But until next time, happy growing.